Okay. Okay, so we start with the first lecture on the transitional economy of Taiwan. Okay. Actually, you can slightly look at Taiwan's history for about 400 years ago, starting from 1624 to 1662, which is the so-called Dutch period. Dutch occupied Taiwan for nearly 40 years, okay, during the early 17th century. And then later, the Dutch was defeated by the Zheng Gong, okay, emperor from Ming Dynasty, okay, Zheng Gong. If you ever been to Thailand, okay, you will find the temple in memory of Zheng Gong, okay, who is actually a very famous general, okay, Ming Dynasty, okay, and why Zheng Gong was here mainly because he wanted to take Taiwan as a very important military base, like Chiang Kai-shek, okay, seeking the opportunity to come back to mainland China again, okay, because the Ming Dynasty was actually overthrown by the Qing Dynasty, okay, so Zheng Gong retreated from mainland China to Taiwan, okay, and he defeated the Dutch first, and then occupied Taiwan as an important military base, looking forward that in one day he will be able to back to mainland China, okay, to recover the Ming Dynasty. Okay, so Zheng Gong's period from 1662 to 1683. Okay, however, we know that he was later actually later conquered by the Qing Dynasty. Okay, and then Taiwan back to Qing Dynasty. Okay, from period 1683 to 1895. Okay, under the Qing Dynasty. Okay, for nearly 200 years. Okay, 200 more years. And of course, you know that the Chinese and Japanese war, and in 1895, Qing Dynasty, the navy of Qing Dynasty was defeated by Japanese, and it is that year, 1895, Taiwan, given by the Qing to the Japanese. Okay, so it becomes a colony to Japan. Okay, so the cessation of Taiwan to Japan in 1895 is the first time that actually you can see if this is the first time, then this is the second time. This colony by the foreign administration. Japan occupied Taiwan nearly 50 years, from 1895 to 1945. Okay, after the end of the Second World War, of course, unconditional surrender by the Japanese government, which including return Taiwan to mainland China. Okay, so this 50 years of Japanese colonization will be also an important year for Taiwan, because after that, then Taiwan back to China again, and it is the nationalists who was actually defeated by the Communist Party in China, and just like Zheng Gong, and retreated from mainland China to Taiwan. So after that, then we had the post-war economic development under the nationalists, under the KMT administration. Okay. It was not until year 2000 that the first power turnover in Taiwan under this so-called democratic under this democratic system, that the opposition parties first time won the elections and took over the power. Okay, the first time power turnover in year 2000 by the DPP, Democratic Progress Party, and it is in the year 2008. Okay, the KMT regained its power by defeating the DPP about 4 years ago, right? So it's the second power turnover in Taiwan's history. The KMT regained its regime as an administration controlling Taiwan, and now it's the second term of the Ma Ying-jeou, President Ma, who wins the election. Okay, the first power turnover is by the President Chen Shui-bian, okay, DPP. So KMT regained the power, and now it's the second. The last year, Ma Ying-jeou re-elected as second-term president. Okay, so now it's the second term of Ma Ying-jeou's administration. Okay, so today we will look at the early history before the end of the Second World War, and we briefly divide it into these 4 important periods. Okay. Okay, and the first one is by Dutch, and the last one is by Japan. Okay, these 2 foreign powers, and in between, then we see the Chinese. 2 Chinese regime. One is by the Zheng Zhengong, represents the Ming Dynasty. Okay, and then the second by the Qing Dynasty. The second period. So we roughly divided the period before the Second World, after the Second World War. Okay, before the Second World War, then we divided it into 4 important periods, and then we will discuss each of the periods later. Of course, this is a course not focused on the early period, but however, I believe that the early period history still remains very important. So we just give you a highlight regarding about this prehistorical development of Taiwan's economy. Okay, so the initial conditions in this historical record is that Taiwan's early economic history is actually a story of migration and a land settlement. Okay, so remember, for the past, before the before the Second World War, actually Taiwan's past 400 years of history is actually a story of migrations. A story of migrations and the land settlements by different ethnic groups or by different regimes. In the first Dutch occupied period, 1624 to 1662, at this particular period, Dutch valued Taiwan mostly for its strategic location. Okay, as you know, that Taiwan actually located in the middle of the East Asia. Okay, in the Northeast Asia, we have Japan, Korea, part of China, and in the Southeast Asia we have ASEAN. Okay, the 10 nations in Southeast Asia. Okay, so in between we have Taiwan. Okay, and using this strategic location actually as an entrepot for this particular type of goods, for example, a road, field, Okay, you know, at the very beginning, the silk is actually an important product invented in China or in Asia. Okay, so low silk piece goods. Okay, and the porcelain. Okay, silk and porcelain. Okay, at that time was a very important goods produced by China. So these goods were imported from China and then re-exported to Japan and Java. Okay, so in the Northeast Asia and Southeast Asia. Okay, so China, so the Dutch actually used the Taiwan as an important entrepot. Okay, to import these silk and silk piece goods and the porcelain from China and then re-export to other countries such as Japan and Java. Okay, so in that case, already Taiwan has been viewed as a very important entrepot, and therefore it engaged heavily in terms of international trade. And here shows you that during the 1633 to 1660, the export in raw silk and the silk from Taiwan to Japan. Okay, and here is the snow silk. Okay, here is in Jin is a unit. It's a unit of weight. Okay, and in Taiwan we use Jin, which is equal to 600 grams. Okay, 600 grams. But in China, okay, Jin, the same unit. Okay, but it represents 500 grams. Okay, but in Taiwan, Jin it means that 600 grams. Okay, so this is in terms of Jin, in units of those silk, and this is in terms of piece of the finished silk. Okay, so this is considered the materials. This is the final product of the silk. Okay, and you can see that the number in here before the 66. Okay, especially in the 1630s. Okay, 1630, a large number of the silk being exported from Taiwan to Japan. And what? 51? Yeah, because it's actually collected by a source from this book, and I believe that it's just missing current the data. Okay, yeah, 1641. Yeah, sometimes the record is missing. I believe this is also missing something, right? Okay. Anyway, this is, as you know, that is pretty more than 300 years ago. So sometimes it's not, the data is not easy to find consistent data, especially for a time series data. But at least they give you some kind of some idea regarding about how large is the trade, the volume of trade. And here is the same thing happening here, right? These 2 years actually missing. Okay, so not only 51, also 52. Missing. This is for the pieces of deer skin exported from Taiwan to Japan in 1663 and 1660. So which means that in the early period, Taiwan is smaller, but we have some kind of forest, and therefore we actually have the deer, and therefore we actually provided pieces of the deer skin as an export to Japan. And again, you can see that in the 30s, which has a large volume of trade, okay, and in the piece of the deer skin, this is the pieces, okay, so which means that it's more than, actually in here, more than 100,000 of pieces. That's considered a large volume. for deer skin. And this is the geese exported to Japan, particularly for the same period. Okay. Okay. Again, this is 1651, 1652. Okay. And this is amount of pieces. Okay. And here you can see that again more than 100,000 of the pieces in this particular year. So it's nearly in the 30s, even 40s, you see a large amount of the deer skins being exported. So in the early period, actually, agriculture was primitive in the sense of its production technology, but productive enough to create a small surplus, and some rice and sugar were also exported at the time. The other major economic activity was hunting, which supported a flourishing trade in deer skins that we have. The most significant development in the Dutch period was the start of the Chinese migrations to Taiwan. Okay, so you see that even under the Dutch occupation, in Taiwan, it also started with some of the Chinese migrations to Taiwan. And the major reason for this migration, of course, is that Taiwan also provides some kind of international trade, and therefore some kind of business benefits actually can be derived from this kind of activity, and therefore it also attracts some of the Chinese immigrants. Okay, started to migrate from China to Taiwan. Okay, and remember, it also has some rice and sugar being exported during the period. And here is the estimated the increase in the population of Chinese immigrants in Taiwan. Okay, from 33 to 61, and during the period you see this is the number of people that migrate to Taiwan. So as small as 4,000 to 5,000, but it also increased, especially during the later period. The later period of Dutch occupation, you see nearly 20,000 to 30,000. Okay, a year. Okay, increase in population. Moved from mainland China to Taiwan. Okay, so you can see, as I mentioned, that the early history actually started even in the Dutch occupation period. You already see the migration from mainland China to Taiwan. Okay, so as you can see that so nowadays, even for these Taiwanese who claim they are Taiwanese, which means that over nearly 300 to 400 years of their ago, their ancestors already settled down in Taiwan. Okay, and from them to here, now it's over maybe 10 or 20 generations in living here in Taiwan. Okay, so you can see these are actually early settlers from mainland China. The Chinese population in Taiwan quadrupled from 25,000 persons in 1624, which is the first year of Dutch occupation, to 10,000 to 100,000 persons in 1665. Because at that time China was in the turmoil of a dynastic change from the Ming to the Qing dynasty. Okay, so you can see that during the period, because of this political instability in mainland China, due to the dynastic change from Ming to Qing dynasty, then it actually triggers the increase in the migration to escape from this kind of political turmoil to Taiwan. Therefore, in this particular period, you see the change of the dynasty provide this incentive for them to actually leave their hometown and they migrate to Taiwan. Okay, so the number of the Chinese population actually increased tremendously. Okay, during the Dutch period. Okay. And because of the trade, as we mentioned before, due to the trade, actually a very important property or features of the international trade is to create the so-called division of labor through specialization. Okay, which means that without any interaction, without any intervention, actually the country will export those goods. The country has the comparative advantage, means that the country actually has the least opportunity cost in producing the goods. Okay. So at that time, a large area of land planted with sugar cane, much more than required by the island population. That is why we not only meet the domestic demand, but also create the possibility to export. Okay, so a large area of land planted with sugar cane. Okay, and more sugar cane was produced than required by domestic needs because ocean-going vessels extended the market beyond the confines of the island. Okay, so it also makes it possible because of the, you know that in the Dutch people are actually very good in shipping. Okay. And therefore, these ocean-going vessels provides the possibility to export and reduce the transaction cost or transportation cost. Okay, so being able, it's not only if you produce more your goods, but however the transportation cost is too high, still it will remain impossible to export those goods. Okay. So the possibility of the Dutch occupation also provides that the ocean-going vessels that can carry this kind of product and shipping to other countries. Okay, even in this early period, some specialization of production was evident. Okay, so from here you can see why it is possible for Taiwan to export those goods. Not only because it has the competitive advantage in producing those type of goods, but also the transportation cost was further reduced by the ships that have been provided by the Dutch people. Okay, so together this during the Dutch period, it becomes possible to have the international trade, and by opening trade, and you can see that either it's the entrepot to export, to import those silk and porcelain from China, and then to southeast or southeast or northeast countries, but also be able to produce goods like sugar through or sugar cane. And export those goods to other countries because of the possibility of the shipments under the Dutch period. Okay. So during this time, you can see that Taiwan actually exports rice and sugar mainly to China, okay, and also sugar and deals to Japan, okay, and these two products, as you can see, rice and sugar remain quite a long time for Taiwan in the major exports. Deer skins, yes, in the early period, but however in the later period, you see that because Taiwan is actually a small island, so it's confined by the natural environment. It's not possible to produce enough deer skins. It's not able to sustain this kind of production in deer skins. So later you see the decline of deer skins. Okay, but in early period, actually it has. the advantage to produce this. But two important major traditional agricultural products, rice and sugar, has been a very important product for Taiwan to export, either to China or to Japan. Okay, China or to Japan. And as you can see that these are actually the major traditional products that Taiwan has the competitive advantage to begin with. Okay, so Taiwan has the competitive advantage to begin with at the very early history by producing rice and sugar. Okay, and the deer skin, of course, at the very beginning. But the one that can survive and also sustain for longer years of time in the economic history is rice. They are rice and sugar. Okay. As you can see here is the planted area of rice and sugar cane. Okay. In this Dutch occupied period, as you can see that the planted area then we have another unit called Jia. Okay. Jia means this. Okay, this is also a measure for the for area. Okay, which is approximately equal to a hectare. Okay, okay, as you can see, one jia is slightly approximately equal to 1 jia is actually equal to 0.97 hectares. Okay. Okay, so pretty close, even though men do not have any relationship. However, you can see that the unit that used by Taiwan or Chinese 1 jia, okay, is pretty much the same as hectares. Okay. By coincidence, I don't know why. Okay, pretty close actually. Okay, one is equal to 1 and the other is 0.97. Okay, so slightly you can just substitute jia into hectare will be fine, because these two units pretty much similar. Okay. So the planted unit, as you can see, keep increasing. Okay, from 44 to 47 is already slightly over 1.2, more than two times. Okay. Okay. That is 2 point, a little bit two more times. Okay. And from 47 to 1646, again, they increased to 6,515 jia. Okay. And for sugarcane areas, as you can see also, the increase in the planted area of sugarcane also increased. Okay, but in terms of the magnitude, the area planted for rice greater, much greater than the area planted for sugarcane. Okay. By the way, this jia actually we also have other meanings. Okay, we have jia, Yih-Chyi, okay, which means A, B, C. Okay, ranking in terms of ranking. Then we have ABC in Chinese. We do not have ABC. We call it Jia Yih-Chyi. Okay, Jia is number 1. Rex is the number 1. We also use Jia. Okay, so if you in our early days, nowadays they don't use this. In our early days, then we have this as our for the grading of the students. Okay, their educational performance will be graded by Jia Yih-Chyi, the rank by this just like A, B and C, and then we have Jia Sang. Okay, Jia Sang means A plus, Jia Xia means A minus. Okay, Jia means A, something like that. Pretty similar, but in different terms anyway. Okay, so Jia also has a different meaning as a ranking. Okay, in terms of performance. And how about the export in deer skin? Now you see that in 34 it's about 100 and this is 1,000 units. Okay, 111,000 pieces of deer skin, and increased to 38 and to 151,000. Okay, and exports in sugar. Export in sugar again is 1,000 tin again. Okay, tin. and that increased from 1636. It's only 122,000 jin. Now keep increasing over time. You can see now to almost more than 10 times in 1730,000 of the sugar cane, of the sugar. Okay, by as you can see, the increase in sugar canes also allows the export of more sugars. So as you can see, the rice, sugar, and the deer skins becomes important, the leading export items for Taiwan in early period. Okay. But however, as you see that the main loyalist Zheng Chenggong, okay, is the general, okay, who actually retreats from mainland China to Taiwan in order to occupy Taiwan as a military base. Zheng Chenggong had to fight with the Dutch. Okay, so the Zheng Chenggong's army actually defeated the Dutch and took over the Taiwan in the year 1662. Okay. And the Zheng Chenggong, of course, is Chinese, okay, from China. And his army population increased from 25,000, okay, to over 200 to 215,000 by 1683. Okay, so at the very beginning, roughly about 25,000 of army population together with Zheng Chenggong from mainland China. And more than 21 years, more than 20 years, the army population actually increased. Okay, by about 8 to 9 times. Okay, over 200,000. They are actively encouraging farming cultivated area, approximately doubled since 1650, or increased by about the same percentage as population. Okay, so the Zheng Chenggong actually, as I mentioned, that he wants to return to mainland China, hopefully, okay, in later. So he actually adopted a policy to settle down his army by so-called actively engagement into farms and land settlements, by calling the so-called turn the soldiers into farmers. Okay, Yih-Chyi. Okay, again you see the Jia again. Okay, I have to tell you another. This is the first meaning, this is the second meaning, and actually there are third meaning of Jia. Because here you cannot. Yih means abundant, right? So give up. Jia, what's Jia? Okay, Jia means here is what? Jia means army. Okay, Kuijia means the armament of the army, the soldier. Okay, so abandon the armament. So turn the soldier. This means soldiers. Okay, you just take off your take off your uniform. Okay, which actually is the uniform of the soldier. So abandon uniform of soldier, and Gui means return. To Tian means field. Return to field. Okay, so turn soldier into farmers. Take off your uniform and engage actively in field, means in farming. So the Zheng Chenggong, who is very smart, if he wants to consider to fight back to mainland China, to take over the mainland China, return to Ming Dynasty, then he has to actually settle down his army. So he used this policy, so-called Qi means turn the soldiers into farmers. And that's why not only the population increased, but also the cultivated land also increased. Okay, for example, free land and the exemptions of land tax for 3 years, which was it's been adopted as a policy to provide an incentive to encourage people to either give them free land, because to Zheng Zhengkong, Taiwan actually the land in Taiwan actually is free, and he can actually just give the land to the soldiers, to particular soldiers or troops of armies, or exempt the land tax for 3 years from the production of your crops. Then you can have the exemption for tax for more than 3 years, or up to 3 years, for example. These are policies to encourage the production in agriculture. In 1683, however, okay, Zheng Zhengkong was not being able to fulfill his hopes to return to mainland China. In contrast, in 1683, Zheng Zhengkong was defeated by the Qing dynasty army. Okay, and Taiwan again became a part of the Qing territory. Okay, so during the Zheng Zhengkong period, Zheng Zhengkong is China, but however, it does not belong to the so-called dominant Chinese called Qing territory. Okay, actually by the Zheng Zhengkong for about 20 years. Okay, but just a small short period. Okay, later it's returned to China again by the Qing dynasty. Belongs to the Qing territory. 1683. Okay. Okay. So again, during this short time period of 20 years, due to again, you can consider this again as a kind of migration. Okay, right? A kind of the Chinese migration. Okay, is together with the Zheng Zhengkong from mainland China to Taiwan. Okay, beginning with the 25,000 people, but in 20 years it increased to about 8 times to more than 200,000 Chinese settled down in mainland China. Okay. So the Qing dynasty, which occupied Taiwan from 1683 until 1895, near the end of the 19th century. Okay, before Taiwan's succession to Japan. Okay, due to the China-Japan or Sino-Japan War. Okay, so during this period, it was under the control of Qing dynasty. So, and if you take here, this period is nearly 200 years or 2 centuries. So in the next 2 centuries, the traditional agricultural modes of production, as it was set in the Zheng Zhengkong period, that exists in mainland China was gradually reproduced in Taiwan, as thousands and thousands of Chinese migrated. Okay. Sometimes it's Qing, sometimes it's Qing. This is Qing in mainland China. This is Qing by Taiwan. But from 1683 to around 1760s, the Qing government limited migration to Taiwan to prevent rebellion. Okay, but after that, then it again. So you can see actually it's a period during these 2 centuries. It's not an open period. Okay, you see that at the very beginning, Qing government was actually prohibited this free migration from mainland China to Taiwan because of to prevent rebellions, because afraid that Zheng Zhengkong's those rebellions will come back again. Okay, so the migration from mainland China to Taiwan was limited. But however, it opened up the abandoned the limitation again. Okay, so you can see some periods there's some limitation on the migration, but later it also opens for the migration. Okay, but from time to time you can see these changes in the policy. But however, in total, you still see thousands of Chinese actually migrated during these 2 centuries from mainland China to Taiwan. Okay, and these Chinese immigrants, they were either seasonal workers from Guangdong, okay, Guangdong, okay, from Guangdong, okay, which is nearly 13%, or permanent settlers. Okay, so seasonal workers from Guangdong, permanent settlers from southern coast of the Fujian, and that's why now today Fujian, okay, nearly 80%. Now why in Taiwan we have Fukienese, we speak Fukienese. Taiwanese in dialect is the Fukienese. Okay, about weeks ago I visited Amoy, okay, University of Xiamen. Okay, nowadays we call Xiamen. Okay, it used to be called Amoy. Okay, University of Xiamen is also a prestigious university in the southern part of China. Okay, they speak Fukienese, and just as what I'm saying, we are speaking in Taiwan, the Taiwanese dialect, the same. So 50%, 80% of the permanent settlers, they are actually belongs to Fujian. That's why today the Taiwanese dialect is Fukienese, not Cantonese. Okay, Cantonese is only 13%, and they are seasonal workers, which means they will come to Taiwan and back and forth. Okay, and this is temporary. They are not permanent settlers; they are temporary workers, and that's why we don't speak Cantonese. And in Hong Kong, they speak Cantonese. Okay, because the major migration from mainland China to Hong Kong is the Cantonese. Okay, so people from Canton, from Guangdong, okay, who actually settle in more in the Hong Kong, and therefore they speak Cantonese instead of Cantonese. Okay, and even in Fujian, okay, we still can divide it into 3 major groups. Okay, Chuang, which is where my ancestors from. Okay, Quanzhou and Zhangzhou. Okay, Zhang, another one. Okay, and Hakka, Ke. Okay, it's Hakkanese. So you have 45% within the 80%. You have 45 from Quanzhou, 35% from Zhangzhou, and 16% from Hakka. And as you can see that these 2 together is already 40%. Already nearly 80% of these 80%. Okay, so and Quanzhou and Zhangzhou, they all speak the similar dialect. Okay, only a little bit different in intonation. Okay, the pronunciation is roughly the same, but the intonation is a little bit different. Okay, other than that, pretty easy to communicate. Okay, but Hakka is something in between the Mandarin and the Chinese dialect. In between, you can see some similarity with the Cantonese, but you can also find some similarities in Mandarin. Hakka. Okay. So as you can see that the majority of people, or the majority of the immigrants from mainland China, actually those settlers from Fujian. Okay. So even today, today we have almost 80%. So this roughly is the same. We have almost 80% of people which consider us the so-called native Taiwanese. Okay, and only about 14 to 15% are so-called mainlanders, which means they are late settlers coming together with the nationalists retreated from mainland China to Taiwan in the 1949. Okay, these are the last wave of immigrants to Taiwan. Okay, they are actually come together to Taiwan with the Chiang Kai-shek, Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek, okay, the leader of the KMT. Okay, together, the last wave of the Chinese immigrants to Taiwan, and they are classified, and their offspring or citizens are classified as so-called mainlanders today. Okay, if you want to make this kind of distinction, although it doesn't make sense anyway. Okay, but politically, if we want to make this distinction, then those offspring or descendants after the last wave Chinese immigrants after 1949, considered as so-called Chinese Mennonite. And those before, then they are classified as the so-called native Taiwanese. But remember, they are all just early settlers or latecomers from mainland China. Okay. Politically, it makes sense because now the KMT actually retreated from mainland China to Taiwan in 1948 after 1949, and those Taiwanese that before is settled down in Taiwan before 1949, or even those early settlers 300 and 400 years ago. Okay, they will claim themselves native Taiwanese, and therefore during the elections, it makes sense to classify these two groups because then the native Taiwanese using this kind of ideologies, then you can gain 80% of the support from the local Taiwanese. Okay, but as you can see, that's why we have the first power turnover. Okay, first power turnover by the native Taiwanese called Chuang, who is native Taiwanese because whose ancestor actually is the so-called early settlers, also from Fujian. Okay, that's why Chuang also speaks the Fujianese, the Taiwanese dialect. Okay, first power turnover. Okay, and the major argument, although it's not the only one reason, but it's a very important reason because it is the so-called the Taiwanese should vote for Taiwanese. Okay, so it wins majority support. Okay, and they consider the KMT as an outside regime from mainland China, and therefore they are mainlanders, called white settlers. Okay, you see sometimes in here, you see sometimes in the political in the elections, then you have white settlers, okay, and Fen settlers. That means province. Okay, Taiwan used to be a province. Okay, here in the Qing Dynasty, okay, Taiwan becomes a province of China. So it's Fen. Okay, Taiwan becomes one province of China. And Fen means that it only belongs to Taiwan. This is any people outside Taiwan. Okay, and here you have 80%. Okay, the pure mainland about 15%, and some other Hakka and the Aborigines. Okay, so that's why first time power turnover. Okay, but in the year 2008 we had Ma Ying-jeou, which is not Fen Zhen, who are actually white Zhen. Okay, and Ma Ying-jeou was born in Hong Kong, and his father and mother are from Islanders. Those came to Taiwan after 1949. Okay, so definitely Ma Ying-jeou is a white Zhen by this classification. However, as you see, in the year 2008 we had the second power turnover. Ma Ying-jeou defeated Chen Shui-bian and regained the power by KMT. Okay, so in this regard, you can say now white Zhen still can be the leader or president of Taiwan. Okay, and which means without the support of those group of people, it's not possible for Ma Ying-jeou to be elected, right? And therefore, the second power turnover has a very important implication and meaning that ideology to distinguish these two types of people doesn't make sense at all. Okay, and it only creates the political hatred between two groups, two ethnic groups. Actually, it's not two ethnic; it's the same ethnic group because they are all early Chinese mainlanders. Okay, so that also, and now Ma Ying-jeou get re-elected last year, this year. Okay, this is actually the beginning of this January. Okay, he gets re-elected as his second term. The third is second term as the president of the Republic of China. Okay, which means Taiwan. Okay, so that actually is significant. It's significant in a sense that it signifies this kind of distinction doesn't make sense at all. Okay, But however, for some people, especially those old age group of people, they still have that kind of hatred toward the outside mainlanders of so-called KMT. Okay, and you may heard that we have the we just passed it. Okay, February 28th incident, which is the conflict between the mainlanders and the outside, the mainlanders and the local Taiwanese. An incident at the very beginning of the KMT when KMT retreat to Taiwan, and we have the conflict between these two groups of people. Okay, so here you can see why even today, we can see that the major group of the people living in Taiwan actually they are from Hokkien. Okay, in 1811, okay, this is based on some of the population surveys, so maybe you cannot find very consistent and statistics along the time series, but however, still provide some of the guidelines for us. In 1811, Chinese population, a total of 2 million people. 2 million of people was recorded in 1811. Okay, 2 million of Chinese population. And in 1887, okay, right after the Japan occupied Taiwan. Okay, or before Japan occupied Taiwan. Okay, it's 3.2 million. And in the 1905, which is after Japan occupied Taiwan, and Japan did the population survey again. Then it becomes 2.9, approximately 2.9 million of people, and you can see the small reduction in the population of the Chinese, which is because about 20,000 to 30,000 of Chinese they actually fled Taiwan to escape from the disorder that comes from the secessions. Return to secessions to Japan. Therefore, part of the Chinese they actually return to mainland China. Therefore, it caused the reduction in the total population of Chinese. Okay, so you can see that at the early turn of the century, of the last century, okay, at the turn of the early last century, Taiwan's population nearly slightly smaller than 3 million. After, of course, after the 3 years of the migration from mainland China to Taiwan, okay, in total, just about 3 million of the Chinese immigrants in Taiwan.